Alright, this is Henry again, and this is my review of the B Club 1 to 100 scale Aries. Okay, so this is the Aries straight out of the box. As you can see, it's all molded in tan resin. That's how 99% of resin kits are. So the entire thing is going to have to be painted. I've got him on an action base right now just because he's really unstable at the moment, because I haven't bothered to glue any of the pins and joints in place yet. I'll do that after painting. But overall, the sculpt of the kit is really, really nice. When you zoom in, just the attention to detail on this kit is phenomenal. They did a really, really good job detailing this guy. And the proportions look really good. And just overall an excellent looking model kit in my opinion. So I can hardly wait to get this guy painted. In fact, let's go ahead and do that now. Alright, and this is the Aries completely painted. And if you watch my work in progress video, you saw me painting this kit, so I'm not really going to bother going over all the details again. If you want to see those, you can just go back and watch the work in progress video. But as you can see, I went with the standard Oz color scheme, the dark purplish grayish color, and with a few yellow accents here and there. Got the camera on the eyes, kind of a gold color, so you can see there. And this kit actually can stand on its own just barely. As you can see, he does have to lean forward a little bit in order to stand up, since he's got these big wings on the back and these giant shoulders and these teeny tiny little feet. Oh, there he goes. So he does have to lean forward a bit, and even then, as you can tell, he is still prone to falling. So luckily, I'm going to be displaying this Aries in flight mode on an action base, so once I get this review done, I won't have to worry about him falling off my shelf. Now, Aries does come with a few accessories, but I'll get into those more when we come around to them in the course of the review. So for now, let's go ahead and do articulation. Now remember, this is originally a fixed pose resin kit, meaning that it's not posable at all. But I went in and installed my own joints, so he's not super posable, but all of the standard points of articulation are there. Alright, I guess we'll start off at the head. As you can see, with these shoulders right here, there's not much room for movement in the head. I put the head on a ball joint, but really all it can do is a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of forward and back, and that's about it. Of course, even if he were to look to the side, all he'd see is the shoulder arm anyway, so turning the head is kind of pointless. Anyway, I've got the shoulders on a kind of a Revoltech joint, and they can go, actually no, they can't go 360 because this part back here hits the wings, but it's got a 360 joint in there. They can kind of go in and out a little bit, but as you can see, because of the design of this shoulder armor, and this piece here especially, the arms can't really go in and out very much. So that's just, I mean, there's really not much I could have done in terms of installing joints to fix that. That's just the mobile suit's design. Anyway, you've got 360-degree rotation below the shoulder. Install these Kotobukiya joints for the elbows, and you're going to get about a 90-degree bend out of those. Speaking of the elbow joints, Aries actually comes with these little fixed pose elbow joints, but I decided not to use those at all. I just used some Kotobukiya joints for the elbows. And then the hands are just on pegs, and they can of course rotate 360. There is no waist rotation, again, just because of the mobile suit's design. As you can see, these two pieces overlap, and there's also a section down behind the thigh that you can't really see that overlaps, that pretty much prevents waist rotation. These wings on the back I have on polycaps. They can rotate up like so. Since that's on a polycap, that's a nice smooth movement. I've also got the hip joints on polycap ball joints, and they can go up like so, pretty far up since there's a lack of skirt armor. And of course they can go back, and they can go in and out a little bit, and they can even wiggle back and forth. So while the rest of the kit doesn't have great posability, the hips actually have really good posability. Now moving on to the knees. The knees, I think, were the trickiest part to articulate on this kit. And I won't say I did a great job, but at least the articulation's there. I have to pull that out a little bit, and gonna get about a 90-degree bend out of the knees, and that's about as far as it's gonna go. Now, just because of the weird way the knee armor is attached to the knee joint and the thighs, it was kind of hard to get any good posability out of that. The ankles I've got on ball joints, and they can go forward and back, a little bit of side to side, not much, and a little bit of rotation. And I believe that is just about it for Aries articulation. Again, he's not superposable by any means, but like I said, all the standard points of articulation are pretty much there. Now, Aries does come with one weapon. He comes with this chain gun, it's called, basically a machine gun. And it's relatively simple, as you can see. It does look pretty nice. Has one moving part. The scope can move from side to side. And the reason for that is that when you've got Aries in flight mode, these wings are going to be up like this, and the scope moves so that you can mount the machine gun up under the wings like so on these little connector points. Just pretty much for storage. Also, when they're mounted up under the wings, the handle will come out, and you've got a small little folded up version of the handle, which will just go right in there and take its place. And Aries only comes with two hands, and the right hand is a trigger finger hand. As you can see, he has no problem holding the chain gun at all. Now, the question that I got asked the most when I was unboxing this kit and during the course of my first work in progress video is, will Aries be able to transform into flight mode? And the answer is yes. Now, what B Club has done is, rather than make it fully transformable in the sense like a master grade is transformable, it's basically a parts former. They gave us 6 parts here that we can swap out and be able to transform Aries into flight mode. Alright, to transform Aries, we're going to start with the legs. That's where most of the transformation is. Here we've got the small thigh that was inside the larger thigh and the knee joint. We're going to take this off and just put it away. We don't need it. And we have a replacement knee joint right here, which is basically just a block, but it works. And that's going to plug into the polycap right where the other knee joint was. We have this little kind of filler piece, and it is going to plug in where the knee armor used to be, right there, and then the knee armor is going to plug into it, just like so. And then this is the mobile suit mode foot, and it is going to be replaced by this folded up flight mode foot. So you can see you got the little peg in there, and it's just going to go in like so. And that is the transformed leg. I know that kind of looks weird with the knee armor sticking out, but trust me, that's how it's supposed to be. Oops. Put that back on. And over here I've got Aries laid down. And you can see down inside the thigh there's a little hole. We're going to insert that peg from the knee joint in there. It's going to go in like so. And now the legs are transformed. Next up is where the action base is going to come in handy. I tried to use some of the other connectors that came with the action base, but I found that just the simple peg was the best way to go. and I just drilled a hole in the waist section of Aries that will accommodate that peg. Alright, so we will, whoops, there goes his foot again, pick this up, fit it into that hole, if I can find it, there we go. Get him down on there nice and snug. May need to put a little bit of glue on this foot that keeps coming off. Anyway, so now we've got him about halfway transformed. Adjust my tripod, and the rest of the transformation is actually quite easy. These wings on the back are simply going to rotate out about 90 degrees like so, and then the legs will rotate back like this, and that is pretty much all there is to it. Aries is now in flight mode, and I gotta say, I really like this, and I'm really glad that this was a parts former, because I mean, some people don't like parts formers, but I think that just the simplicity of being a parts former is a real advantage, especially with a resin kit, where you've got the parts aren't quite as stable as on a normal plastic kit, and there's a lot more things that could go wrong. So I actually appreciate the fact that this is a parts former rather than having the legs actually transform. And before we wrap up, here are a few size comparisons. Aries with my 1:100 scale Leo that I made last year, 1:100 scale Tall Geese, and my resin 1:100 scale Sandrock and Heavy Arms. So there it is next to some more suits from the Gundam Wing universe. Alright, so that about does it for my review of the 1:100 scale B Club Aries, and I really couldn't be happier with this kit. Just the kit that B Club gave us, it was just really well made. The part separation was fantastic. Compared to other B Club kits I've done, I had to do very little masking on Aries, and just the proportions and the details are really good, especially the attention to detail inside all of these air intakes, the bottom of the feet, just the joint parts, even like inside here, the shoulder joint that you can't even see up under the armor is really nicely detailed, and I think B Club did a really good job with this kit. It was fairly easy to articulate. In fact, I think this may be the easiest time I've had adding joints to a fixed pose resin kit. So I think B Club had a little bit of something to do with that as well. But overall, I really enjoyed this. I'm really happy with the paint job I did. I think I got the colors just perfect. In fact, I even surprised myself by how well the colors came out on this guy. I think my one and only disappointment with this kit is that I wish I had moved this little 01 decal maybe a few millimeters to the left, but other than that, I'm really happy with the job I did with it. Any complaints about this kit? Honestly, I really don't have too many complaints. If I was going to complain about anything, I'd maybe just the fact that he only comes with 2 hands. Other than that, I really don't have any complaints about it. It's a really solid, well-made kit. So I guess that about does it for my review of the B Club Aries. And while I haven't yet finished Virgo and Virgo 2, at least Phase 3 of the Oz project is now complete. So with that, I'll see you guys next time.